said not a problem.
Morning, everyone. Yeah. Morning, Stan. Yes, Chris. Morning. How are you, mate? Yes. There's obviously something going on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hi, Nora. Oh,
morning, bro. Thanks. There's obviously something going on because this matter being listed in private is a cause for concern.
Yeah, they say it's going to be in private. No, the public is not allowed.
Right.
It's cool too, yeah?
Okay.
You have to send them when they summon you. Who are you?
Strand, I'm with you.
Yeah, he's with us.
When they send you the summons, you understand? The summons is an invitation. You must reply to that summons as to whether you are going to oblige them with your presence or not. Under that, you put them on notice as to whether you are going to answer that summons or not. If you have, by a previous ruling, established your jurisdiction, by now coming into the court, you are putting yourself back into their jurisdiction, and they will overrule everything that has already been set in motion. He's here to get himself out of the predicament, not to grandstand.
No,
I don't mean it in a derogatory way. I don't mean it in a derogatory way because we have been on a back foot for a long time where we are now seeking to gain a certain profile for matters that are pending. There is a way to gain that profile. You understand what I mean? Not because you are going to them. If he goes into the room, the first thing he does is he asks the judge his status.
Yeah.
The judge must declare his status. If he cannot declare his status as being de jure and he is de facto, then he has no business over this matter. You claim common law's jurisdiction. And walk out of the courtroom and you say nothing.
In his case, before them, because his case.
But you cannot.
You cannot put your case before you are.
This is an invitation
to deal with that.
For them to deal with this particular thing.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
It is not about justice. It never has been about justice. The court is a corporation.
I mean, that's in the civil law.
Civil the whole law.
Right. Yeah.
It's not about.
It's about money.
Justice. It's about
power.
They are a corporate entity.
Yeah.
The court must now, look, the people have put a case in the court. The court now must get their money. They must get paid for you walking in. You think the courtroom opening the door is for free?
It doesn't really come with any great surprise that they've adjourned this, because what's going on now, or what's happened, is that they have, as in the way they settle most court cases, they take you to the very door on the morning to say, okay, we'll settle out of court, will you accept this amount? Yeah? Now, this doesn't, by having the adjournment, again, I'm denied this opportunity to say what I would have liked to have said, or in any event, what I'm going to eventually say in court. And it buys more time for them to think about how to conclude this. But, of course, my interest is having a day in court. So if you want it off me, and so on, then let's go in court, and then let me use that opportunity to get the issues on the table that they've been trying to avoid all this time.
Is your agenda the issues, or is your agenda justice?
My agenda is justice.
Okay.
Of course, but but justice based on the issues. Yeah. Now they had me locked up in prison for 6 years and 1 month without ever having access to court by way of appeal or habeas corpus. However, because of this ongoing denial of access to court, I would simply face the same challenges I faced before my imprisonment. So they're denying me my fundamental right to come to a court of law and lay down a claim as any other human being would be entitled to.
There is much that we have to test. A lot of what is actually taking place, do you understand what I mean, is unprecedented.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
the provisions exist within the law, and yet the law is being flouted. Do you understand what I mean? If the lower courts break the law, you must be able to appeal to the higher courts.
Well,
right?
the higher
And if the higher courts
no
break
one
the
in
law, if the higher courts break the law, you take it entirely out of their jurisdiction and go to Europe.
It comes with no surprise that they've adjourned this morning. I expected them to have done this probably before today, but look what they did. On Friday, they arrested me, held me for 10 hours on some allegations of making threats, and then released me, as I said, 10 hours later without charge. And
proof of your threats.
no proof whatsoever. The police, look, they referred to a document dated the 29th of July. And the police were saying, well, if they were felt so threatened by this, why are they just acting now? You know, but they had me arrested, had me brought to the police station, and then come and serve me documents at the police station whilst I was in the cell. You know, and 10 hours later, only to release me without charge. They're going to pay for it.
That's right.
So and the fact is, this case is like a victim of its own success, because they know that I know I'm entitled to claim an unlimited amount of funds for any period of false imprisonment. So I could literally bankrupt this country with a claim for imprisonment for 1 day, false imprisonment for 1 day. But with the 6 years and the 10 hours recently and the many times before that, literally could bankrupt the country. That's part of the fear for them. It's not a case which they can say, okay, here's £5 million even. Go away and let us never hear from you again. It's because if they said to me, here's £5 million, I could say, no, I want 20 or 30 or 50 or 100, etc., etc. It's because of what the implications from this case means to their system. And the truth is that if they allow this matter into court and it's heard, the whole system has to close down, because it goes to the heart of the integrity of the whole judiciary. And it means that every person who's ever suffered an injustice through these systems,
Start claiming.
absolutely, and every person in prison today could use this case to come out of prison, whether they be whatever, the most wickedest crimes, could use it to get out of prison. And that's what they're afraid of. That's why they won't let me in. I say it before all of you here present, that 6 weeks' time, or any a number of weeks' time, this case will not go into court.
So are they hoping that you're going to breach some kind of law? Or
Well, I mean, I don't think...
You're not contemplating that?
I don't think that, I mean, that vehicle parked there,
Yeah,
as you saw that, right?
Yeah.
You saw the police officers
That's
walk
right,
by.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
untaxed
Yeah.
and it's uninsured.
Oh!
Right? And there is absolutely nothing that they will do. They will.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. You can go and check the tax.
Okay, maybe that's why they wanted to see.
That
Maybe
is the
that's why
part
they
of
wanted
it.
to. That's what I said. That's what I said. They
But
got
I
it.
told them,
you're right.
I told them in advance that I was going to be parking there.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I said the
In
way
fact,
that he
I-
was flexing out.
As a matter of fact, I told them there was going to be 2 cars parked there, because I thought.
I know, but I was trying to get it so much earlier.
This is the finest, sharpest, double-edged sword you could ever wish or hope to have.
That's right.
Whichever way you come down with this, it
Well, like I
cuts.
said, the issue now is to apply it, isn't it?
Well, we are applying it. This is what, when I got this opportunity to come to court, this invitation to come to court, I said, yes, please,